Good morning, everybody. How are we all today? Welcome to today's live stream. Oh, as I should really start, as I do in most of my videos. Hi, it's Gary. There's a lot of people on my videos comment that they actually find it quite funny when I say that. So, let's quickly have a look through some comments. So, we've got Alia Rose, welcome. Hi there from Pennsylvania. Welcome to you. Tom Morley, hello from Atlanta. Blonde Scales 1, good evening from Arkansas. Oh, press the wrong button there. I don't know. My poor old brain not working already. BJ, welcome to you. John, hello again from New York. BJ, oh, sorry. While we wait, what's everyone writing with tonight? Yeah, I'm always interested in that, what people are writing with it. I think it's quite interesting how, especially when you get people, maybe the same pen and then different inks, and it's nice to see what combinations are. It's a shame on YouTube that we can't actually share like photos or images of what we're using. That'd be quite interesting. Elbora Ho 81, hopefully I pronounced that right. Hello from Oregon. I think I've pronounced it two ways, so at least one of them's wrong. And Chris V, hello to you. Just refresh the comments, see if there's anything else comes in. And we've got Will Hodge, howdy all from Texas. Hope everyone's doing well. Paul McHugh, good evening, Gary. And then Blonde Scales 1, I need to select a new victim to ink up. I love it, a new victim. I love that idea. Sorry, poor old eyes again, still suffering with a hay fever. Alia Rose, I'm inking up a new colourway of Jinhao 100 with Colourverse A Boo. I think it's called Museum Red. I do like my Jinhao one. Well, you may have already know that I do like my Jinhao 100s. I think they're really affordable and generally they're quite nice. Will Hodge, I'd keep it about 5 inked up, then rotate them out as they run dry. Yeah, well as you know, my pens in use, I try to keep that to 6. Why I settled on 6 for that goes back to when I'm going out and about. When I'm out and about, I use my Galen leather folio, so I can put all 6 pens in there because it'll hold 6 pens. To be honest, it's the only reason why I've gone for 6. Now that I've got the rolls that my wife makes for me, yes, I could increase that number, but I find 6 is just right. And usually between 6 of them, I get at least 1 or 2 which last out the full month. Let me just refresh the thingamajig again. Blonde Scales 1. We can always share pics on Discord. Yeah, I need to get back into Discord. I've not really used it overly much. I am on a couple of Discord channels, like Fountain Pens Australia. They run via Discord channel, and I have set one up. I'll have to make a note. Let me just make a note in my task management system. Kick start Discord again. To really get more of that going. BJ, I'm rocking a Bennu Euphoria Earl Grey with a fine nib and a Atramentis Document Brown. Well, that sounds nice. Do you know? Oh, well, we're coming into this when we get in. I was going to make a comment about brown inks. We'll get into that in the main meat of the video. John, writing with a Monteverde Regatta Mother of Pearl. So yesterday I actually saw a picture of that pen. Wow, it's pretty. It looks really nice. Today's mug, we've got the Batman mug. There we go. I'm hoping people can hear me. I'm sure that someone would have said. Yeah, there we go, Batman. And I've got peppermint tea today. Ricardo, good morning, good evening, everybody. Good early hours of the morning to you, Ricardo. I believe you're from London from memory. Dean, hi, it's Dean from South Australia. Welcome to you. BJ, Mother of Pearl, bet it's a beauty. As I saw, the images I saw yesterday looked really nice. Blonde Scales 1, I finished 3 and have 2 almost empty, which is really good. I had a, I don't know if you can see them, they're sat over there. cleaned out 7 pens yesterday, which was really good. Paul, currently my pens in use are the Mahjong Q1, the Jinhao 9016, the Monteverde Ritma, and the Pen BBS 323. Yeah, the only one of those I don't have, I think it's the Q1. That's that short, fat one, isn't it? I thought, when I saw it, I thought, God, that's a butt ugly pen. So I didn't bother with it. But I have seen a couple of them in real life, and they're not as bad as I originally thought. So maybe that's something I'll have to drop hints to my wife when she's doing a Inkvent buy-in. Maybe suggest she gets one of those for me for Inkvent this year. Elbarak 81. I've got my Platinum Plaisir. It's so smooth, best bang for the buck. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say about Platinum being good value, or the Plaisirs. I don't have a Plaisir. Maybe it's something I need to look at getting. BJ, my 100 in black let me down a bit. Dries out overnight. I think it's just an odd one. Could well be. And there's little things there's bits you can do to it, which will help with that. It might be worth maybe pulling out the nib and feed if you're comfortable doing that, and see if reseating it might make a difference. Ricardo, question of the week from me. Will anyone be getting the new Kaweco Sport? Yeah, when I saw the pictures when Cult Pen sent out their promo email for it during the week. I showed it to my wife. Not sure. It seems an awful lot of money for me for a piston filler over a cartridge filler. Now I know it's the metal. Is it the AL Star? So it's not the plastic one. So, but it's still, I think it was about twice the price. So I'm not sure. I may get it. I don't think I'm going to get it whilst it's in just in black. I'd like to. Maybe if they released a green one, I might. But that's just me. To me, the black just looks, blah. And a lot of things. Again, we'll cover this in today's main topics. I now tend to buy pens where I like the look of them. Tom, writing with a Waterman Carène Black C with a medium nib and Graf von Faber-Castell Midnight Blue. Yeah, I love my Carène. It's been inked up. I haven't been using it this week, but I've got it inked up. I've got the Marine Amber version, and that's inked up with Diamine Ox Blood, which is a really nice combination. Ricardo, yep, London, and it's at the time of writing this, which was a couple of minutes ago, 37 minutes past midnight. Wool Hodge, I have 2 Platinum Prefonte inked eyedropper. They perform very well as eyedropper for an 11 USD pen. Yeah, I've got the Preppies, and I just eyedropper them now. That was one of the pens I cleaned out, was the Preppy. It's been inked with black ink for about 6 months, and I'm not really a black ink person, so it's not been getting used. So I cleaned it out, and I might fill it up again. But again, I'll eyedropper it. Tom Morley, I usually keep about 20 inked. Yeah, I did a count. I've got 28 inked pens at the moment, which is quite a lot. BJ, I've got 4 sports, only really use my brass one. Yeah, I don't have any of the metal sports yet. I do intend to get one at some time. It's just been something that's never really jumped out at me, so I've never really overly bothered with it too much. BJ makes a tank of a pocket pen. Yeah, it will do that Kaweco Sport. I say I'm quite interested in the idea of it. It's just... there we are. Is it? Sorry, I'm just checking on something I forgot to open up before the... yeah, that's what one I wanted. Let me close that. Let's get back down. Yeah, so that Kaweco does look... As I say, I think at double the price, I'm a bit dubious about it. Ali Rose, technically I've got 20 plus inked. Like as not, the fountain pen police are coming for me. Yeah. So I say I think I would say the number 28 currently inked up. But I ink up a lot because of obviously doing the videos, and then I like to use them up and use them for a while as well. Blonde Scales 1. Among my currently inked are Saffron Eco, few Preppies, Curidas, Kaweco Sport, Lamy All-Star, and a Plaisir. BJ, they won't come. They're afraid of all the letters they would get. I like that. Ricardo, Platinum, Prepri, Prefontaine, and Plaisir all have the same section and nibs. Alia Rose to BJ True. BJ, I've been using some Diamine Prussian Blue, my Twisby Go extra fine, then having a blast with it as well. That sounds Prussian Blue. I've not really seen that. I'll have to check that one out. Only ale sport I have is the very Perry from Gold Spot. Do you know Gold Spot do some really nice originals, don't they? Okay, let's jump on over into the main topic. Let me get this up. So what I thought I'd do today is I've been watching during the week. Some people have been doing like a revisit of the 8 pen questions from about a year ago. So I thought, well, that seems like not easy. That seems like an interesting enough topic. So I thought, we'll go through the 8 questions. I'm going to try and be quick this time. I know last time I did it, I talked for hours and hours and hours. So let's switch on over to the screen. I've put them into my keynote presentation. So the first one, when and how did your fountain pen journey begin? So the main fountain pen journey began when I was at school. Our history teacher, he insisted that work was completed in fountain pen. If you handed something in and it was written in a ballpoint or a roller ball, he wouldn't mark it. It had to be in fountain pen. And this teacher, he wasn't you're thinking he must be an old bloke. He wasn't an old bloke. He was, well, I would have thought at the time he might have been in his 30s. He was one of the strictest teachers that we had. And I say, so that was really when I got initially into fountain pens. And, there I bought my pens from a shop in the UK called W.H. Smith's. And they were Parkers, so it was things like the Parker Frontier and the Parker Jotter. So I had a couple of different ones there. Then, since then, I've always had a fountain pen, but I used it sporadically, and it was always a Parker. It was just over 4 years ago. So, really, actually, before the pandemic, not only months before. 2020 we're talking about here. That's when I really got back into it, because the fountain pen I had, it was starting to where it was showing its age. So I did a bit of Googling, and I saw a Pilot Metropolitan. So about 4 years ago, I got a Pilot Metropolitan, and I thought, well, I need some ink to go with it. So actually, that's another question, so we won't talk about that yet. So I got into the Pilot Metropolitan, and then started finding the YouTube videos from various people. So it was really a combination of watching YouTube videos, seeing the different pens, being amazed at the variety of pens. And up to then, I always thought the only pens you can get are Pilot, Parker, and the occasional Waterman, and maybe occasionally a Schaefer. Got back into that and then slowly started building up a collection. A few months after I got that Metropolitan, I got my first Chinese pen, and then obviously got that. I quite enjoyed Chinese pens as well. So it just started growing from there. And then as time was going on, and I was seeing people doing, obviously the YouTubes, that's where I thought, well, why not give this YouTube malarkey a go? And that's when I started making the videos, and really it's just gone on from there. So that was question number 1. Question 2. Favourite inks in the beginning. So I'm only going to go back to 2020, 4 years ago. So when I started, when I got back, I got that Pilot Metropolitan, and I thought, well, I need some ink to go with it. And I want a couple of different inks. So I knew it was coming with a cartridge, which I think was just blue. So I thought, well, that's blue covered. I looked on, I think it was Pulp Addiction. Well, it was Pulp Addiction. I bought them all from Pulp Addiction. And there was a couple of different inks on there that I like the look of. I saw Pilot Irishizuku Momiji, which I thought, looking at the picture when I was looking on their website, looked red. In reality, it's a bit more pinky. So that's how I got the Momiji. And I also like the look of Pilot Irishizuku Shinryoku, which is like that foresty green type colour. So they were the first 2 inks I bought. Received them, was quite enjoying them. So then I went back a few weeks later and did another order from Pulp Addiction, but this time what I did is I focused on getting some ink samples so I could start building up a selection of inks. And I think that was where I got my first diamine ink from, which I quite like to get again. And really from there, it's moved on from there. Ink-wise, I've got quite a lot. I've got well over 100 inks at the moment, which is why I'm on an ink buying freeze, because, I think, let's be honest, I've got enough really which should last me the rest of my life. I've just realised I've left that last comment on the screen. Let me just go and take that off. Hopefully that'll disappear now. I'll fetch that presentation back. What are my go-to inks now? I like diamine. 3/4 of my inks are diamine inks. Past few months, what I've been doing is I did have a lot of samples. So I've been forcing myself to go and use up the samples, which is good. I've got 3 samples left to go. So hopefully in the next month or so, they'll all be finished. Then what I'm going to do is start looking at the Inkvent inks. So the idea is I want to focus on reducing the number of the small Inkvent ink bottles. So I don't really have any go-to inks. If it does, obviously there are certain inks I do like to use on certain pens. So like my Pilot Custom 823, I like to use either Diamine Tobacco Sunburst or Robert Oster Cafe Crema. Like both of those inks in that pen. But go-to inks yet, not really. It's, whatever I fancy at the time when I'm filling a pen, to be honest. How have your ink and pen tastes changed over time? Well, the ink one we'll start with, because we've just been talking about ink. When I started, obviously I bought a red and a green, because I thought, they're good colours for marking up stuff. Green, my favourite colour. Red, when I'm trying to go through and highlight stuff, I thought, well, red would be nice for that. The one thing that has surprised me is how much I like brown inks. When I started this, if you'd have said to me, Gary, you're going to really like brown ink, I'd have said, nah, you're being stupid. But what I found is, after I had my first brown, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Diamine Tobacco Sunburst, but it might have been Robert Oster Cafe Crema. It was one or the other. I've really got into brown inks, and I love brown inks. So I do try to have a brown ink in a pen at all times. So that's certainly something that really surprised me. Purple ink as well is something that surprised me. I quite like purple inks, but I prefer a bit more of the darker tones. And to be honest, with all my inks, I do prefer to have the more saturated colours. So, I've got things like one of my pens has got Ferris wheel pressed buttered popcorn. Too light for me. It's all right. I don't mind using it, but I would much prefer, a darker colour. Pen tastes. So as I say, initially when I started, I was thinking, you got Parker, you got Pilot, that's about it. Going to Chinese pens, about 70% of my collection are Chinese pens. Quite surprised by them. You can get some, yes, you can get some crap ones, but you can also get some really good quality Chinese pens. And most of them, they are slightly different. I know a lot of them are I like to say they're inspired by, heavily inspired by. Let me just, I've been talking to the camera all the time and it's turned off. There we go. I've turned it back on again. Do you know, I'm not having a good day today, am I? So, yeah, heavily inspired by other pens. If it looks like something which is just a pure clone, to be honest, unless there's a specific reason, I won't buy it. But if it's just, there are differences, I don't mind experimenting. So, yeah, Chinese pens is something that really is. The other thing is I'm now going for pens, for want of a better way, they're prettier. So when I'm looking at pens, yes, I'm looking at the nibs, I'm looking at the filling mechanisms. I look at all things, but unless a pen visually grabs me, I tend now to pass over it. There's got to be something about the design, something about the pattern even, which just grabs me and says, Gary, look at me. So, I've got a number of plain black pens that are tubes. Are all right, but I wouldn't buy them now. TWSBI Eco, love the Eco, brilliant pen. I haven't bought one for absolutely ages because none of them visually grab me. It's just a tube with a bit of colour on it. 580, again, I've only got one Twisby 580, which is the transparent one. Again, nothing against it. I absolutely love it. I use it quite often. But when I'm looking at them, they don't visually grab me. So that's why I've navigated away from that to more pens, I say, with that visual impact. The other thing is my choice of nibs. So again, going back 4 years, I was all about fine nibs, even extra fine nibs. But as time has gone on, I migrated into medium, then to broad, and now to stub. So when I'm buying pens now, I occasionally will buy a medium, but I would say 90% of the non-Chinese pens I buy with either a broad or a stub. The Chinese pens, you haven't got much of an option because they don't really have that much choice. But that doesn't bother me. I've also started playing around with swapping nibs around. So I've bought some. I've got some cursive italic nibs now. I've got some broad nibs, and I will eventually buy some different ones. I want to try and get an architect grind, but not got around to that yet. I may even start playing around with trying to grind my own nibs at some time, but not sure. Next question. Are there any inks and pens that you have yet to try but would like to? Not really. As I say, it's more visual impact now that I'm looking for. I have got a list of pens I'd like to buy. I keep that in my app. Some are Chinese, some are non-Chinese. But there's none really that I could say I'm desperate to get hold of and try. They do come up occasionally. I say my next purchase, I've already got roughly I know who I'm going to buy it from now. Hopefully I'll be in a position in a couple of weeks to be able to look at ordering one. Been getting into the handmade pens and focusing on pens made by Australian makers at the moment. Got to be honest, part of that is the exchange rate. It's just so bad. When the exchange rate comes down and gets to something like it used to be about 18 months ago, then I'll look at UK and US people. But until then, the exchange rate is just stupid ridiculous. So that's why I'm focusing a lot on Australian makers at the moment. What is your holy grail pen? I can show you it. As you would have done, did the first impressions last week. This is the Visconti Homo Sapiens Dark Age. Really lusted for this pen for a long time. And I was lucky enough to get a bit of a windfall to be able to afford it. Absolutely love this pen. Been using it this week quite heavily. Beautiful, gorgeous pen. Heavier than I expected. And definitely this was my grail pen. And I'm going to say still is my grail pen. Don't have any thoughts about another grail. I know quite often once you get one grail you then start seeing others. Haven't really got anything which is in that league. So yeah, that Visconti Homo Sapiens definitely is there. How many pens do you currently own? Loads. So I'm going to give you virtually an exact number. So I keep my pens in a database or an app that I wrote. And a promotion here is available on the Apple App Store for both Mac and iPad and iPhone. It's called Pen List. Anyway, that's my promotion done. So I keep a list in there. Part of that, I do have an export function. So I exported the list. So here's the list of pens. So row number 2, so we need to subtract 2 off the last one. So going through this, I've got these actually sorted by price. And see there's lots and lots. So 174 minus 2, which is the row number we started, so that's 172 pens at the moment. Here's all the inks, just so I can show you the inks. I keep all my inks in there as well. And I've got a notepad function. I don't use that as much. So yeah, 172 pens. Quite a lot. But a lot of those, I say, over 70% they're Chinese pens. So a lot of them were fairly inexpensive. Wouldn't dream of selling them. I might give some away if somebody was showing an interest. So that's like the Jinhao 992s, why I've got a load of those. Someone was showing an interest in pens. I'm quite happy to fill up a 992 for them and just give it to them. Do you have a limit on pens or inks in your collection? So on pens, no. It just depends. I say I'm looking more for visual impact. I'm also obviously buying pens which I bought specifically for the channel. But yeah, no real limit. Inks, yeah. At the moment, I've put myself, in combination with a wife, on that ink buying freeze, purely because there's a mass. I've got so many inks that until I get them down, I've got to be honest. I reckon I've got enough ink at the moment that'll last me the rest of my life. But we'll have to see. But until I've reduced the number of bottles of inks I've got by half, I don't intend to buy any more inks. Unless there's an ink which really jumps out at me. It's got to be something which is jumping out and saying, Gary, 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 if you don't buy me, you're going to regret this for the rest of your life. And then ink vent. I'll get, if Diamond do an ink vent, I'll be getting the ink vent each year. Constantly, what would you do if another pen or ink came along? Well, I think I've just covered that, haven't I? Inks, unless it really grabs me, won't be buying it. Pens, I say, if it's got the visual impact, that's where it'll go onto my list and, get planned into when I buy it. I think that's the last question. Yep. So let me go back to the camera. That's the presentation for a few minutes' time. Let me just minimize that. So back to comments. I couldn't warm up to the Preppy. Just a little too stiff for me. They seal like a vault there. Yeah, downside with the Preppies for me is choice of nib. So I've got an 03 and an 05. I do have some of the... they've got some highlighter ones which I've got. I don't really use them enough now. I need to maybe get them inked up. Paul, I think the piston filler sport is a nice idea, but eyedropper fill the standard sport is the best way to go and is half the price. Yeah, with the plastic sports, now if I eyedroppered one once, I'm going to carry on doing that. Quite like that. So I've got the, I think I've cleaned it out. I had the transparent white one, which was eyedroppered with a gorgeous brown ink. So yeah, finished that. I think I cleaned it out during the week. Certainly not one I've cleaned out yesterday. Alia Rose, I've got a gorgeous opalescent handmade pen from Divine Pens Plus sitting still in its packing waiting for me to complete a protracted project as reward. We wants the precious. Do you know, that's something I think is really important when you're doing some bigger projects, is to have something like that. Have that reward sat there waiting for you. I know that's something I've used in the past a lot, and it's something when I'm talking to people about how to try and increase their productivity, I think it's really important to have this idea of a reward, but it's got to be an achievable reward. I mentioned I don't match ink to pen. My Saffron Eco has got Diamine Winterberry in. Yeah, that's something I'm still struggling to get my head to do. So I tend always to, or not always, most of the time that my ink matches the pen. I need to get it out of my head to say it doesn't have to, but it's something, maybe that's what I need to do as a pens in use month, 1 month. Inks that are a complete mismatch from the pen, but still look nice in the pen. Ricardo, I've been looking forward to the piston fur since I knew it was on the plans from Kaweco. Yeah, I said it's just a shame it's black. It's just visually doesn't grab me. BJ gets the precious. One cannot risk the precious falling into the wrong hands. Absolutely. Yes, you don't want some pesky hobbit to come along and take your precious away from you. Just get back to where we were. Wow, loads and loads of comments. Blonde Scales 1, certain pens are precious. Absolutely. BJ, my 823. And my Benus are my favourites currently. Ali Rose, adore my Benus. Oops, skip to comment. Blonde Scales 1, I like my one Benu. Yeah, I do like my Benu. I've got the Talisman in Dragon's Blood, really like it. BJ just can't stop writing with them. For a steel nib in the Benu, can't believe how good the tune is. Yeah, I really love the way the Schmidt Brain gone again. I really love the way the Schmidt nibs write. Blonde Scales 1. The only thing that would make it better would be for it to be purple. Yeah, I say it's the colour. I think if they release a green one, I think I might go for it. Tom, I love the super wet Schmidt nibs in my Benus. Yeah, absolutely with you there. They're gorgeous to write with. BJ, I had to wait forever for the Earl Grey to come. It's one that wasn't... I can't read today. I had to wait forever for the Earl Grey to come out. That wasn't so flashy. There's usually too much bling for my eye. Absolutely, completely with you. That's why I haven't bought another Benu, is they're just too much... Yeah, they're too blingy. Ali Rose, Tom Molly, I use the broad nib Benus for shimmers. Yeah, I mean, the Benus, again, it's easy to pull out the nib and feed. So I use shimmer ink in there, and then after each use, I just pull the nib and feed out and give it a really good clean. Blonde Scales 1, I like the sparkle. Isn't that one of the nice things, though? We can all have our own views on things, like the Dragon's Blood. Yes, it's sparkly, but it's not an in-your-face sparkle. There's one I've seen, is it Vodka on the Rocks? Which is just like silver, and it's bam, right in your face. Tom, Alia Rose, I do that sometimes. John, does Benu make any pens with gold-plated nibs? I haven't seen them if they do. I think I've only ever seen steel-nibbed ones. BJ, if I had known they were tuned so well, I wouldn't have bought one. I would have bought one a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know if they tune them in-house, but certainly never have any issues. Paul, I've been limited to 10 inks. I've got Aurora Balak, Irashizuku, Asagao as my first inks. I keep refreshing this, and there we go. Albarak 81. My first fountain pen was the Schaefer calligraphy set that comes with italic nibs back in the 1980s. BJ, still got my Schaefer set. BJ, horrible compared to what we have now access to nowadays. Yeah, I've got a Parker Jotter that was made in 1996. It's the one that I actually lost the nib down the sink, which I wasn't too worried about because the nib on it was horrible. I've got a Kaweco nib in it now. The Kaweco nib fits it really well. So I've got a Kaweco double broad in there. Whoa, beautiful combo. Really writes well. But yeah, I mean, so nib technologies come on an awful lot. BJ, I learned a lot from that calligraphy book they included in the cost of the set. It was worth it for the buck. Yeah, I do have a thing of a couple of books that I bought about calligraphy. I want to get into it, but it's something I don't have the patience. I think that's my problem. Paul, my go-to inks include Diamine Regency Blue, Diamine Crimson, Private Reserve Chocolate, Conklin Kelly Green, and the ones you mentioned before. Yeah, I do like my Diamine inks. Blonde Scales 1. I tend towards purple and blue inks, but I'm trying to use some of my other colour samples. BJ, I'll second Private Reserve Chocolate. It's a good brown. That's on my list. As I say, I'm just not buying any at the moment. Blonde Scales 1. Yeah, my Ritma is almost inked. I do like my Ritma. It will be making an appearance, he says. Yeah, it will be making an appearance. Fairly quick appearance now, but we'll be seeing it in a little bit. Elbarak 81 definitely helps to learn control of the pen. I recently bought a converter for it so I can ink it up again. Will Hodge, I have certainly curved my ink buy-in, but my latest purchases have been Japanese inks. Sailor and Pilot Irashizuku are very lovely. I've got the I've got them two Irashizuku inks, but I haven't bought any other ones since then. And I've not really got into Sailor. They always seem, to me, the ones I've seen have always seemed a bit on the wishy-washy side. But again, I do have a few on my list, but not intending to buy any. Wool Hodge, the Sailor USA States series are very cool. Yeah, I've seen a few of those. Is it the Texas one looks quite nice. Paul, I don't use shimmer or shading inks. They dry too slow. Usually I also have Pelikan 4001 Violet. Jan, I do have one 4001 ink. It's a red one. I can't remember the name of it now. Might even be Brilliant Red, but I'm not 100% certain. But I was quite disappointed with it. I need to get into some more pens and try it a bit more, I think. BJ, love all my Iroshizuku inks. They're very well behaved. Yeah, if I'm having a problem with a pen, I tend to go and put one of them two Iroshizuku inks in because they are very predictable, and I usually use them to try and like diagnose any issues. Alia Rose, there's something intensely satisfying about a nice glass bottle ink. Yeah, again, absolutely with you on that. I do like the bottles. It's one of the downsides really with the Diamond ones. I only get the 30mm ones. They're plastic and the opening isn't very wide, so a lot of my pens won't fit in. So if I'm going to fill them, I need to use the Ink Master. Blonde Scales 1, I'm trying to resist buying until after I get the Opal Just Turning pen that I want. Yeah, again, I'm completely with you there. I know exactly what you mean. So hard to resist, especially when you see a pen and you think, oh, that does actually look nice, but I'm saving for this. Alia Rose, I want to see that pen when you do. I'm intrigued. Yeah, Just Turning's, it's an Australian maker. Pens by Casey, that pen blowed, Platypus pens. There's this new one that I've seen. I haven't got one of his pens yet. Ron Garry, something like that. He's been putting some really, really nice pictures on. It's actually a Ron Garry one that I'm currently saving for. Paul, if anyone's got a really great black ink that is not carbon based, I would appreciate any suggestions. I say I'm not really into black inks. The ones I've got are Noodler's Heart of Darkness. Noodler's Heart of Darkness. I've got a bottle of Leonardo Black. That's because when I got my Pilot Custom Heritage when I got my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande, it came as a box set with an ink, and it was a black ink. What other blacks have I got? I've got one from a company, it's a Welsh company called Pure Pens. It's called Welsh Gold, and that's black, but it's got gold shimmer in it. Aries, hi, welcome to you. Let me just stroll on down here a bit. Then Paul, I've gone mostly to piston filler and eyedropper fill pens from the cartridge converters. Yeah, even the cartridge converters, I tend to fill them with a blunt nose syringe. Blonde Scales 1, once he gets more blanks in, I can order it, and when I have it, I'll put pics on Discord. Yeah, just turning really good. There's loads of different choice. BJ, Just Turnings are beauties. Yep, they are. I can't even imagine one of those made out of opal. As I said, it's worth checking out the other, Australian makers. As I say, Pens by Casey, that pen bloke. Platypus Pens, he does 3D printed pens, so he doesn't really do blanks. And I said this Ron Garry is another one I've found, and maybe others. So if anybody knows of any other Australian makers, let me know, because I'm focusing on at the moment Australian-made pen. Aries, I'm envious of your Homo sapiens. Oh, I tell you, it's beautiful. It was well worth waiting for. It is such a nice pen. Very, very wet. That's one thing I will say. Blonde Scales 1, yes please, opal pens are the best pens. Blonde Scales, that was Alia Rose. Blonde Scales 1, not real opal, but it looks really nice. Teresa, just got off work, just dropping in for the ending. Welcome to you, Teresa. I've been watching your videos this week. That last one you did, was it the I want to say a P20? I can't remember exactly which model it was, but I added it onto my my to buy list. Paul, I'd love to get a Pelican 1000. Yeah, expensive though, aren't they? I've only got the M200, 205 I've got. Again, is it worth me saving for? I don't know. Visually, they just don't. They're nice, but they just don't jump out at me. BJ, I use Noodler's Polar Black and Diatramentis Document Black a lot. If permanence isn't needed, I use Urishizuku Takesumi Black. Blonde Scales 1, I want a vanishing point eventually. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the vanishing points. Not really jumped out at me. Paul, if I include my ballpoint and rollerball pens, I've got over 200. Wow. Albarak 081. I hear Octopus Fluids has got a super black ink that may interest you. BJ, if you're looking for a fancy black, Shogun is the ticket in a wet nib. Will, hey Paul, I've got about 30 G2 gel pens. There's certainly a place for them and I love the colours. Paul, my limit on inks was decreed by my wife. 10 inks to be the maximum. Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it, with inks? It's so easy to keep buying them, especially like with the diamond inks, which are really so cheap. Teresa, has the time for the live changed? Yes and no. So, for me, it's still 8:30 in the morning, but because in America they've had the time change last weekend, so obviously there'd be an hour difference there. But certainly for me, we don't have daylight savings time or any idea of that, so that's why. Ricardo, I would have a look at Sailor Black. The cartridges that came with a pen are really nice and black. Santa, hi all. Welcome to you, Santa. Hope everyone is well and enjoying themselves. Albarak 81. Oh, I've just heard a noise from outside. My car's just started. We went to start the car yesterday, and we just got click, 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 click. Now we had some work on it during the week. It was very poorly, and we had to have a new air conditioning unit, and the drive belt which drives the entire thing had come off because the air conditioning had broke. So that was fixed during the week, and the guy said, "Look, your battery's getting a bit on the low side now, so you may want to look at getting that replaced in the next few weeks, or next few months." We said, "Yeah." We said, "Well, must we get it done next month?" Next day after the car, we'd been out and about after it had been fixed. And I say, went to start it, click, 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 battery had completely gone. So the mechanic's actually here now fixing it. Paul, thanks for the octopus fluid idea. I'll have a look at them. Blonde Scales 1, I've got 74 fountain pens I've bought and a currently unknown number I got from pen subscription boxes. Need to track them all down. Yeah, when I extract that list quite often from my database. But what I did, I was stupid one day and I added up the cost. And when I found out how much I'd paid for all the pens, it was like, oh my God, how can you have done that? BJ, it's already an hour late due to the time change, I guess. I think Garry may have forgot us today. Aries, I would love a Burmese jade fountain pen. Blonde Scales 1, the 4-leaf clover Bennu is a nice sparkly green. BJ, 10 inks. Can I write you a letter of apology in ink? Alia Rose, I've got vodka on the rocks. That's that one I mentioned earlier. It is indeed quite sparkly. Blonde Scales 1, we're chatting now. We are, which is brilliant. BJ, that vodka on the rocks caught my eye. I didn't pull the trigger until the Earl Grey came out. Tom, both Aurora Black and Pilot Asagao are favourites of mine. BJ, those are both good inks. BJ inks. Sailor's Gentle Black is good. Can 9, yes. Hi, it's Garry. A lot of people do comment on that about how they like. A lot of people do comment about how they like hearing that. Alia Rose, I'm having a hard time writing with my Ritmer as I'm exhausting combo for me. I can take one of those factors as at a time, not both. Blonde Scales 1, I think my coolest ink bottle is my Ackerman. Yeah, I don't have any Ackerman ink, but they do look quite nice. What's wrong with the Ritmer? They're a solid pen. BJ, too solid as it were. Yeah, there is a nice weight to it. My Ritmer is my only pen with an odd nib. I got the Omniflex nib on it. I need to try an Omniflex nib. I've tried flex nibs in the past, but never really got on with them. Again, it's more, I don't have the patience, I think. BJ, I haven't tried the Omniflex. I'd go to my 912 custom 3-channel Ebonite feed if I want flex. So, drinking more tea. BJ, I've tried a few flex, but that one reigns supreme. Can 9, I use Aurora Black. Once you go black, you don't go back, if you know what I mean. Yeah, you see, I'm the opposite. I've moved away from black ink, which is, I've moved away from black inks, more towards like browns and purples and some nice turquoisey inks. I just don't know. I normally keep a black pen inked up, but as I said with that platinum, I haven't used it in 6 months, purely because I only really use it on like things where it's like an official form or something. Yeah, Gary forgot about it's down to time zones. Unfortunately, I say we don't have daylight savings here, so poor brain. Yeah, we don't have daylight savings, and unfortunately, it's very difficult to change this because if I change it later, I'll get in quite big trouble from the wife because obviously she's then up and out of bed. If I go earlier, I'll still be 3 parts asleep, which, I'm only half asleep when I start these. Or I'd have to get up at like 5:30 in the morning to get everything done beforehand. So that's the main reason why I've left it at 8:30 Western Australian time. BJ, nice to still chat though. Gary's here talking. Yeah, sorry about that. You all get to hear my voice all this time. Alia Rose. Half my Ritter comment didn't go. It's too thick to hold and very heavy at the same time. Sorry, that was confusing. Yeah, it is a thick pen. I don't mind it because I've got larger hands. I think for larger hands, it's a nice width. And yes, it also is quite a weighty pen, which again, I don't mind because I do like the weight. I certainly don't post it because it's very, very back heavy. Kanzi, agreed, Diamine is the one brand that is super available on Canadian Amazon. BJ, really? Under what name? BJ, I think that was someone imitating the opening. Yeah. Blonde Scales 1, he's doing his normal video chatting. Miss Marilyn Darling, hi Gary, welcome to you, Miss Marilyn Darling. Lol, feed didn't come up. Kanzi, great to see you. Hello. How is everybody doing? Will Hodge, I've got my Grail Sailor 1911 large. Been focusing on local pen turners and vintage pens for my purchases lately. Yeah, again, vintage pens are something I keep thinking about maybe getting one. I've got that, it's a 1997 pen vintage. I mean, it's a cheaper mass-produced jotter. But I do keep thinking about it, but there's nothing, again, that really jumps out at me. Tom, hi MMD. BJ, I still can't see Gary. Let me reload. Now, I am seeing myself in my preview. So I've got here. I've got a preview going there on an iPad. So I am seeing myself. But on my screen, let me just quickly switch to my screen, just so you can see. So the window where it's saying going live, that keeps doing that today. Normally it doesn't. Normally it's showing me what, again, another preview. So I think there may be an issue. I'm not sure if it's at the YouTube end or between me and YouTube. My speed test was fine because I do a speed test before I start these. That was coming at something like 70 megaseconds. So I'm not sure why it's maybe playing up a bit. But on my preview, I'm not seeing any issues. Hi Tom, Miss Marilyn Darling. Hi Will, how you doing? Lol naughty. Blonde Scales 1, I tend to keep it preppy inked with black. Yeah, that's what I did. I washed it out during the week because it'd been sat there for 6 months and wasn't being used. So I thought, well, what's the point in keeping it inked up? If I need black ink, well, I'll just ink up a pen for that specific need. Okan 9, I love deep black like Aurora Black, and I love my black laid. I think we're starting to get a bit stupid here. Oh my God, I missed Garry coming in. Sorry. Tansy, I missed you live. I posted a new pen ink video up. Hopefully you get time to check it out. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. BJ, it didn't load. Miss Marilyn Darling, that's okay, thank goodness. They live on YouTube forever. Yeah, with you there. So most of my videos, I leave them up. I wouldn't take them down. Wool Hodge, Hola, Miss Marilyn Darling. Blonde Scales 1. I'd like a vintage friend or two for my Schaefer balance someday. Yeah, again, I've got a Schaefer Prelude. I do need to check out some other Schaefers. BJ, how much did I miss? I can see now, probably an ad error. Yeah, this is what annoys me with YouTube now. They're putting ads all over in lives. Ali Rose, YouTube has issues with ad blockers and will throttle you if you have them running during a live. It's best to temporarily disable them. Yeah, I don't use an ad blocker. I don't know. I'm guessing there may be a little glitch with YouTube. Okay, so that's all the comments. Let's swap on over to the phone camera, the overhead camera. Somebody asked me during the week what equipment I use for my videos, and I was saying to them I use an iPhone 11. So I've just an iPhone 11 Pro, which is sat in as you saw, for my desk view, and that the other week, and that's what I use actually for all my videos. So the pens that I've been using this week, we'll start with that Grail pen. This is one I've been using for my replies. This is the Visconti Homo Sapiens. Beautiful, gorgeous pen. So we've got a Visconti Homo Sapiens. I'm having to hold the paper because the fan's on. It's quite sticky. It's actually sticky today. Broad nibbed. A lot of money. $1,141. The ink by Diamine. And it's Earl Grey. I've got to be honest, at the moment, if I need a black ink, I'd actually use this. It's quite a dark grey, but I think it looks really nice. So that's the Visconti Homo Sapiens. So that's been in use all week. Next up, we've got the Just Turnings Mimas. This is in black copper. Gorgeous colouring on this. I can't remember this one. A lot of these, my pens have run out. Yeah, this one's out of ink, so I will try and write something, but I don't think it's going to write. On here, I've got a medium nib. Most of the pens now are Yoho nibs. So this is a Just Turn-ins. Yeah, I didn't think it would write. So that's Just Turn-ins Mimas. In there, I've actually got a purple ink by Van Diemen called Van Diemen Twilight Mist. So all the inks in my main pens are Australian inks. It's purple, and it's got a really bright purple shimmer, although I do struggle to get the shimmer to come out. This pen was how much was it? It's not on my list. Why isn't it on my list? Anyway, I think I paid $170 for it. Beautiful pen there. Up next, we've got a Platypus pens. Remember, this month all my pens are made in Australia. So this is a Platypus Model 10. Love the herringbone on this, and the texture, very, very nice. Another one, next to no ink, may or may not write. And again, it's got a Yoho nib, and this time it's broad. So we've got Platypus Model 10. Model 10 with a broad nib. And when I got this, it was $170. The ink by Van Diemen, so that's that Tasmanian Australian ink, and it's Apple Island Green. Gorgeous combo. This, really enjoyed the combo. I do quite like this Apple Island Green, and I found this ink A lot of pens doesn't work very well, and I don't know why, but in this pen, absolutely love it as a tombow. But I'm putting that into the too clean pot. Up next, back to Just Turn-ins. Here we've got the Just Turn-ins Enceladus. This is in Jonathan Brooks Golden Blue Jay. Again, beautiful material. Just look at the way that catches the light. Another one, virtually out of ink. Let me see if it'll write. If not, I'll move the converter down. On here I've got, again, it's a Yoho nib, but it's a broad. So we've got here Just Turn-ins, Enceladus. I'm putting in brackets Golden Blue Jay, broad nib. This one was 185 Aussie dollars. The ink, again by Van Diemen, and it's Azure Kingfisher. Just pop the pen to one side. I'm just going to lift this ink up a bit. I love the blue of this. It's very nice blue, and certainly you can see it on the first line. Hopefully I can get it to catch it on the camera. Just try there. It's got a nice golden shimmer to it. Quite a pretty ink. So that's a Just Turn-ins Enceladus. Next up, this is that pen below, a fountain pen. Very big pen this. I'm going to fetch in that last one just so you can see its size comparison. Yeah, it's quite a large pen. Have I got one handy? Got a Pilot Metropolitan here, just so you can get an idea. So it's a larger pen and got a really nice long section. Very comfortable to use. I love using this. This has got a broad nib on it as well. Again, it's another one virtually out of ink. Let's see, hopefully, because this is today's pen, I just managed to get my writing out. Let's see if it will write. So that pen bloke, it's just called a fountain pen. It's got a broad nib on it. The price for this was $190 when I bought it. All these makers, obviously, prices will change, so check with them. The ink, it's Robert Oster. It's just gone, died on me. I'll finish it off with this one, shall we? Robert Oster, Ride Green. Another really nice green ink that I really like. So that's that pen bloke into the clean out tub. Oh, I've left that comment on again. I'm forever doing that. I should be fired. Up next, we've got another Just Turn-ins Enceladus. This one has got a matte finish, whereas the other one had a gloss finish. Jonathan Brooks blanks material, and this one is called Elvenwood. It is a resin pen, it's not a wooden pen. Gorgeous to behold. This one should have some ink in it because I only filled it last week. Yeah, so we've still got a bit of ink in there. The nib on here is a broad nib, but it's made by Cypress or Mr. Cypress. It's a slightly different nib, and I do notice there's a slightly different feeling to it, and it's a slightly finer line that I see with the equivalent Yoho nibs. So this is Just Turn-ins. And it's Enceladus with a broad nib. Price for this one was 195 Aussie dollars. The ink, I'm just checking, yeah, it's Robert Oster, Aussie Brown. Love the shading in this ink. Love the shading I see with this nib as well. I'm just leaving the Ritmers on there to hold the paper down to stop it from flying all over the place. So that's a Just Turn-ins Enceladus. Then my final pen that I've been using during the week, I will do a writing with the Ritmer because I've got it out. This is Pens by Casey. This is a wooden pen. The model is called a Mokuzai 13. The wood is Northern York Burl, which is a type of eucalyptus tree. Absolutely beautiful, gorgeous pen. Fully lined with ebonite. Again, virtually out of ink. Let me just push that all the way down. Let's see if we can get enough in there to get some writing with. So we've got here a Pens by Casey. Mokuzai. Yeah, it's not going to write, which is a shame because it's beautiful 1.1 stub nib on this. Again, it's a Yoho nib. So that's that. This one was not cheap, $400. Handmade from wood, hand finished, really worth that $400. Ebonite liner in the body. The section is ebonite. Just an all-round gorgeous pen. But that goes into the clean out pot. So my final pen, this is a pen I'm using for my responses during the coming week. I've just put the Homo sapiens there. Imagine using $1,000 pen just to hold a piece of paper down. This is the Monteverde Ritma. I may not get the full week out of this because the ink is getting a bit low. If I don't, then I'll soon swap it for another one. So this is a Monteverde Ritma. Monteverde Ritma. It's actually Paul, who's in the chat. He's the guy who recommended this to me. It's got a broad nib. Price for it, you're looking about 92 Aussie dollars. The ink by Robert Oster. And it's moss. Nice, gorgeous dark green. Really like this. I'll be honest. I like all the Robert Oster inks that I have. Most of them were samples, so most of them are finished. So I'm now down to my bottles. I think I've got 4 bottles of Robert Oster ink. Again, we'll eventually get some, but because I'm on that ink buying freeze, that's the reason why not. So that's the Monteverde Ritma. I'm going to swap that over. And then swap over back to the camera. So not as many pens to write with this week. Let me refresh the comments. Let's see where I was. Wow. Will Hodge, Ercan, please troll somewhere else. Ercan 9, if you're looking for a nice red ink, I can recommend Diamine Oxblood. Yep, as I said, I've got that in my Karen. Really enjoy it. Kanzi, Garry, nice live setup you have. I'm taking notes. On my YouTube channel, if you go to last week's video, or last week's live, I actually did a full desk tour. A full tour of my office, but we looked in a little bit of detail at what I've got. Quite happy to do one focusing just on my streaming setup. If it's something people are interested in, let me know. BJ, Oxblood, Red Dragon, Ancient Copper, all good reds by Diamine. Yeah, and if you like brighter reds, Wild Strawberry or Poppy Red, they're both nice. Quite liking Classic Red at the moment as well. BJ, Oxblood was my first bottle of ink and still my favourite red. Yeah, Oxblood's is nice and dark. I alternate between that and Writer's Blood as to which is my favourite in that colour family. Blonde Scales 1, I should ink up my Apricot Pearl Sport so I can try it out its broad nib. Sorry. Yeah, I like the 1.1 stub at the moment on my Sport. Kanzi, I don't feel bad now. We're spending over $1,000 on my budget pens in only 2.5 months. Yeah, it's so easy to do. It adds up, doesn't it? Kanzi, yes, Adia Rose saying exactly the same. It adds up shockingly quickly. Kanzi, that one Visconti pen is worth my whole fountain pen collection. It is, and as I say, I've lusted for it for a number of years. And we were just lucky. We got a bit of a windfall, so it was a treat. It was a treat. It'll never happen again. Beautiful pen. On Scales 1, yep, even cheap pens can add up quickly. Yeah, as sometimes don't even try and add them up because you'll shock yourself. I did. Wool Hodge, the 3D pen is very cool. It is. It's really nice. What he's also done is he's put a little bit of metal in it, buried in the body, so it adds some weight, so it actually stops it from rolling. So my tea's finished, so I'm on to the Spider-Man water jug. I've got lime cordial in there, and I don't know if you hear, it's full of ice. Kanzi, I agree. I'm trying to create a dupe pen collection. Yeah, lol. Albo Rock 81. I've been resisting the Kaweco Sport for a long time, but the new piston filler is tempting. What are your thoughts on the new Kaweco Sport piston filler? So I personally think it's overpriced, but part of the reason for saying that is obviously I've only seen the pricing from Cult Pens, and the exchange rate is shocking. So, you know, things that on Cult Pens I would have bought a year ago, I wouldn't buy anywhere now because the exchange rate is just so bad. When the exchange rate comes back down, obviously the price for me will come down a bit, so I might think about it then. But I quite like the Plastic Sports. I mean, Plastic Sport is $41. Let's go on to Cult Pens. We can have a quick. Let's do a quick look at three different models. Just on my screen, getting up Cult Pens now. So we want Kaweco Sport, C-A-K-A-W-E-C-O Sport. Kaweco Sport. I typed it in the wrong place. Come on. Oh, the Cult Pens website is playing up really slow. Let's switch over to the screen so you can actually see. Okay, let's go. Let's see if we can go this way. It didn't like the search. IJK, Kaweco. Fountain pens. This is one of the things I like, being able to be interactive and just go and so you can actually see what I'm doing. So a plastic one, so the apricot, 47 Aussie dollars. The brass sport, 144. And then have we got on here the piston one? Here we are, the piston one, 250. So that's what I say. I think, as much as I'd like it, I think it's a lot of money. I do love my Plastic Sports though. You know, $41. You know, that's a special edition, but $41, which is what I paid for my others, is well worth the money. Let's go back to the camera. So yeah, I can't justify $250 for that sport. Blonde Scales 1, so many cool pens, so little money. Absolutely. BJ, it's definitely a grail pen. Yeah, that is so nice, is that Homo sapiens. BJ, wow, nice shading in that Van Diemen blue ink. It is, I really like it. It's one I don't use often enough. Actually, the Van Diemen ones were my 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th inks that I've got. So I've got Apple Island Green, which is obviously green. I've got the Azure Kingfisher. I got Deciduous Beach, which is like an orange. Then I got black, so Devil's Black they call it. So that's another black ink I've got. Kanzi, Alia Rose, you're right. I got to stay away from fountain pen YouTube community. They are my Achilles heel. I watch a video, then order a new pen. Absolutely, I know exactly what you mean. BJ, might have to check them out. I don't have a single bottle of that ink. So in the States, I think Vanessa do Van Diemen inks. Blonde Scales 1, exploring the pen seller websites can be dangerous too. Yeah, absolutely. Kanzi, I love green inks. I just received the Diamine green black ink. My favourite Diamine green at the moment is labelled Cult Pens. It's Cult Pens Deep Dark Green. I really like that. BJ, the problem is you get hit 3 times: the pen, the ink, and the paper. Absolutely. Alia Rose, for a lot of channels, this is their job. Got to be careful about sponsored content, affiliate links, and so on, because of the content creators' vested interest in selling you all those pens. So, agree with what you're saying. I'll be very, very clear here. I am not affiliated to any website. I don't have affiliate links, anything like that. All the pens I show are pens I've bought. Now, if a company wants to send me a pen to do a review on it, quite happy to do that, but I'll make it clear to them that I will say what I think. If I don't like it, I will say I don't like it. I will also fully disclose multiple times during the video if it's been sent to me. I think that's important. I think that you need to have that openness so that you know what you're getting, and you know that the review, if it's been sent to someone, say if somebody wants to do that, I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to go and approach companies and ask them for it. But yeah, just be careful. I believe one of the YouTube rules is they have to tell you if there is any form of sponsorship. So just be looking for that as well. But yeah, sometimes you've got to be a bit careful. Kanzi, I'm addicted to wooden pens. So I've got 3 wooden pens. I've got the Pens by Casey one, beautiful, fully lined with ebonite. I've got a Jinhao 9056, which is in green sandalwood. There looks to be a liner in the cap, which stops the nib from drying out too much. But I do find the nib on that 9056 dries out quite quickly. I've also got a Conklin All-American in golden walnut. The only pen I can say was, well, best way to describe it is a pile of crap. Not to do with the model. I've got another All-American in resin, which is beautiful. It's the fact it's made from wood. I can't see a liner in the cap. The nib on it dries out within half an hour. Worst one, I'll never, ever, 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 ever buy another Conklin All-American wooden pen. In fact, I don't think I'd ever buy a Conklin wooden pen again. Kanzi, hey, if you can afford it, go for it, I say. Well, yeah, if you only live once. Kanzi, I don't need to imagine it anymore. You're the first to use a $1,000 pen as a paperweight. I know. It seemed a bit funny at the time when I was doing it. Kanzi, I'm really loving the Writer's Blood Monteverde. Wool Hodge, Kaveco Sport exclusive on Gold Spot, I believe, is $29 USD. That's not too bad. Sorry, I should have clicked the comment, shouldn't I? I don't know. BJ, yep, BJ 175 US. I think we're talking there about one of the other pens. Blonde Scales 1, yep, Amethyst is 29 US. Kanzi, I'm going to order some of the recommendations now. Ort's Blood, Ancient Copper, and Red Dragon. I like Red Dragon. It's a darker red. Not as dark as Ort's Blood, but yeah, quite like it. Alia Rose, I just got the Frosted Blueberry Sport off of Amazon for 18 USD. Super lucky find. Yeah, that's actually a good price. Blonde Scales 1, I got the Amethyst and the Apricot Pearl. Teresa, the official Pen BBS store is back open. Anyone ordered anything yet? No, but I will be having a look. I haven't bought a Pen BBS pen for a while. Last one I got, I think, was the 323. Really like the 323. I got the aluminium one. Very nice. Wool Hodge, Pen Chalet has done a few exclusives with Dominant Industries, and they are lovely. I bought a bottle of Arizona Sky Citrus, and it's nice, and comes in a nice bag. Presentation's everything, isn't it? Kanzi, my wooden pens are Jinhao 8802 in cherry wood and another in dark wood. Elbarak 81. I'm waiting for the new Pen BBS releases. I've got 3 of their pens I'm fond of. Struggling today to talk, you know. He says after going about for an hour and a quarter. Blonde Scales 1, no wooden pens yet, but I have a denim pen. Yeah, I like the look of that denim pen. It looks quite nice. BJ, I'm stuck on getting leather covers for my notebooks from Galen Leather. I've found my favourite pens, the 823 and the Talisman, and the Tomoe for my paper, again from Galen, and enough ink to write for 3 lifetimes. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I've not gone too much down getting notebook covers. Nearest I've got is my Galen Leather Folio, but that's not really a cover. The notebook just sits in there. Artful Station, hi Gary, almost missed this. Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to you. Kanzi, the Pen BBS 480 is a dupe to the Schaefer Balance. That might be worth looking at. I haven't had a Pen BBS pen for a while. I do like with Pen BBS, they like to experiment, and I think that's nice. Sometimes the experiments don't work, but I think it's good that they are doing things differently. Blonde Scales 1, I should ink up the Demona 2. Yeah, I do like the look of that. Pen BBS 308 is dupe to the Sailor Pro Color. Yeah, I've got 2 308s. I'm trying to remember the names. There's a blue one, and there's not a blue one. There's blue, and what was the other one? Oh, brown, I think it was. So I haven't used them for it. To be honest, the thing which puts me off the Pen BBS is it's the nib. There's nothing wrong with the nibs. It's just that they're fine. Ted, welcome to Ted. Ted, hi Gary for the help navigating the membership sign up. Glad to be here too. Thank you for that. YouTube do not make it easy on us. Well, it's not YouTube's problem. So if you are using the YouTube app on an Apple device, Apple does not permit YouTube to do anything which involves transactions. Obviously, they can show the ads, but anything which involves a transaction, a financial transaction, Apple's rules are you have to do it through their in-app purchase system. And then what happens is Apple take 30% of what's paid. I know this because of having the apps that I've got, which I have for sale. So 30% of whatever I'm saying 30%. As a small business, it's only 15%. So only 15% of whatever I charge, Apple takes. But for larger companies, they take 30%. So that's why YouTube don't have the thing on there, because obviously, if you take a membership out through the Apple YouTube app, Apple will take 30%. YouTube then actually take 40%. So you can imagine why they don't want to do that. So that's why they don't show it in the app. So the only way to join, I think, is either through Android. I don't think the issue is there with Android, or going through the YouTube website. It's a pain in the butt, though. It's just a shame that Apple are doing that. Blonde Scales 1, the Denima definitely has a texture to it. That's what I like with the Platypus pen. It's the texture on it. It's really interesting. So, drinking more and more now. Artful Station are curious. Those that have the Denima, does yours dry out easily? Mine does, and I wonder if it's the ink or the pen. Yeah, I don't have one to be able to comment on that. I can't remember who makes the Denima. Is that a Monteverdi or a Conklin? Denima pen. Let's just. Oh, Magna Carta. I don't have a Magna Carta pen, so I can't really, again, comment on that. Refresh the comments. I read out the feel of the Denima. Blonde Scales 1, haven't tried it yet, so I can't say. So I've just looked at the time. We're going to swap on over. You can see my stats screen for a second while I get back to the presentation. So last week's videos. Sunday last week, we had the Visconti Homo Sapiens first impressions. Absolutely love that pen. I can't say that often enough. Tuesday, red pen redemption. So that was looking at 5 red pens from my collection. I've been enjoying doing this series of, taking 5 pens with a theme. So, we've got a theme at the moment of colours. So I've got some other themes which will be coming up. It's just an interesting way to look at a number of pens fairly quickly. Friday, that was a half-time report, so I'm going to really struggle this month. I'm actually filming my wrap-up video tomorrow because of time constraints that I've got. And I've been trying to rank the pens, and it's so hard because part of me doesn't want to rank them at all because I love every single one. But I've come up with a ranking yesterday, and I'll be revisiting it again to review my thoughts today. So I have put them into a ranking, but the difference between them, it's things like one is getting a higher ranking because it's a slightly bigger pen. That's literally how bad it is. It's so difficult to choose because they are so gorgeous, and I love every single one of them. Yesterday's video over on Tricky Little Questions was looking at what about our time perception and fear, and looking at the thing where time seems to slow down when something bad's happening. Next week's videos. So today, this afternoon, we've got March's inked pens. So that's looking at all the pens other than my pens and use pens that are inked up at the moment. That was actually quite good because from that I got 7 pens which could be cleaned out, which was really good. And then I've got a number of pens which are going to be going into next month's pens in use, which is going to be a use me up month. So hopefully in the next month I want to try and clean out another 8 or 9 pens if I can. Tuesday I've got a first impressions video, and that's of the Jinhao 82. So that was one of the gifts from my wife in Ink Event. Friday, I've got what I'm calling cheap Japanese pens. So these are looking at 5 of the cheaper Japanese pens. It's not every cheap Japanese pen. I've picked a selection. There's 4 manufacturers there are being represented. So that was another quite interesting one to do. Then Saturday on Tricky Little Questions, it's photo quiz time. I like doing the photo quizzes. I enjoy searching out images for them. And then book of the week, we've got Terry Goodkind Phantom. About a third of the way through the book now. Really, again, I was saying yesterday when we did the members only Zoom, problem with Terry Goodkind is very, very descriptive, which is a problem and benefit. I like it. I like the benefit is you really get to know the. I've done it again. Left a thing on. You really get to feel it. I'm going all over the place today. You really get to feel what's going on, and I think that's really good. But the downside of it is he spent 6 chapters what could have been described in 1 chapter, and actually what had been described in the previous book anyway. So, yeah, I can understand. It can be a bit frustrating. So let's go back to the camera, and we'll have our last go through the comments. Blonde Scales 1, Magna Carta. Move that out of the way. Blonde Scales 1, I was thinking of using clear nail polish on the inside of the cap though. Yeah, now somebody suggested that to me. Somebody else, when I was having the problems with the Conklin, said something about you can get like a thin, like a PVC glue, pour it into the cap and then roll it around and pour it out, but then that gives enough lining. So there are lots of different ways you can try that. Just be careful if you're going to do anything like that. Don't get it on the threads that you use to connect to the body because you could end up gluing them together. Artful Stationer, thanks Blonde Scale 1. That's a good idea. BJ, I use chapstick on the cap threads to fix dry out problems with my pens. That's a brilliant idea. I might try that. Because some of my pens, they do dry out, especially if they've been sat for a couple of weeks. Artful Stationer, good point, BJ. I can try that too. BJ, it's not bad for your hands either. Yeah. Blonde Scales 1, I've read the porous nature of the denim could lead to a tendency for it to dry out. Yeah, I think that's the same with the wooden pen. I think that's why I had the issue with the Conklin, whereas the pens by Casey, because it's got that ebonite lining, don't have a problem. Artful Stationer, not at all. Artful Stationer, that's what I was wondering. Artful Stationer, Denim, it's like a sponge. Blonde Scales 1, I had to go and look the pen up since Goldspot didn't give much info on it in the mystery dip. So that's all the comments. What I'll do, let's just do another quick refresh, because we're running very late. You know, my aim is with these, as I've said a few times, is to keep them down to under an hour. We're now at an hour and a half. So there's no more new comments, so let me just check on this one. Right, thank you all for your time. Hope you enjoyed yourselves today. It's been awesome. I say we've gone a little bit long. My voice is starting to go croaky. Thank you all. Hope you have a glorious week. Check out my videos as they come out. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Just helps with the anytime you like, every time you comment. I'll come back to that in a second. Helps with the YouTube algorithm. Remember, membership is available. There are members get videos early. We tried to do a members only Zoom yesterday. I had issues with getting the Zoom link out to people, so I'm looking at a different way of doing that. So it is there. Going to the comments, Blonde Scales 1, are you getting dirty looks? Yeah, I am, because she had to get up early today with a mechanic come in, so he's been and gone. But obviously, because I was doing this, I couldn't get up to answer him and talk to him, so she had to get up and do that, so I was in trouble anyway. Blonde Scales 1, have a great week all. Tom Morley, thanks all. BJ, thanks Garry. Hope everyone has a great week. Alia Rose, see you next time. Let me just do a quick refresh. Artful Stationer, thank you as well. Chris Robinson, thanks Garry. Everyone enjoy your Sunday. Ricardo, bye all. Have a great week everyone. Ted Smith, thanks Garry. One more. Thanks Garry. Blonde Scales 1, lol. BJ, thumbs up to everybody. So thank you all. I'll leave the comments open whilst the outro plays. And I'll talk to you again soon.